Episode 5: Anxiety Dreams, Night Terrors, and False Awakenings. I'm Angelina Young, and this is Journey Through the Dreamscape. This is a place where we will dive into imagination, intuition, and dreams. My vision for this podcast is to occasionally bring some of you wonderful people on who would love to share your dreams with me and the listeners. I hope to help you develop the skills to decipher your dreams and apply them to waking life. In episodes where I don't bring a guest on, I will talk about different things I've learned through the week, ranging from consciousness, intuition, and the history of dreams. My goal is to raise awareness on the importance of dreams and help you build an understanding of yourself and the world around you. So if you're interested and curious about my thoughts, experiences, and other people's experiences, this is the place for that. I'm excited to see where this will lead all of us, and I hope you'll join me for the ride. So here we are for another exciting episode. This week, we will have yet another guest. But before we get into that, I would love to share a poem with all of you. This poem is called Stop and Smell the Flowers. Do you ever stop to smell the flowers? Those words blow towards me, into my ears, throughout my head, so I stop to smell the flowers. He's having a stressful day. She's so tired working a 9 to 5. They never stop to enjoy the little things in life. So I stop to smell the flowers. The bills are coming up. The weather is a little rough. I have no idea what I am doing. So stop and smell the flowers. I get you get so caught up. Your body aches, and by the time you take a break, you already have to wake up. Your tears crawl down your cheeks when outside the moon speaks. Stop and smell the flowers. Wipe those tears away. There's beauty in an average day. If it's hard for you to see, stop and smell the flowers. You can find that poem and many of my other poems on my website, angelinayoung.com. So, one more thing before we get into the main topic for today. I would like to just recommend a little online bookstore that I stumbled across. It is called Crossed Crow Books. You can find super witchy books on their site, which I absolutely love. That's actually where one of the books that I recommended a bit ago was Craft of the Hedge Witch, where it originally came from, but when I had got it, it was already off of there. But then I have been going back to that site and buying so many books from there. I highly recommend them. They have very fabulous, amazing, cool books that you can't find at your local bookstore or spiritual shop. So I would check it out. And anyways, let's get ready because today we have one of my best, grandest friends on the podcast, and she shares so many cool things, from anxiety dreams to semi-lucid dreams to false awakenings, eating and tasting in dreams, night terrors, sleepwalking. I get to share a little premonition dream that I had with all of you guys. So yes, I am aware. I know the episode is quite long, which is why I try to keep this beginning part as short as I could. But I really, really hope that you enjoy. I hope that you go through the week and you split it up. You know, you don't even have to listen through it in one day. You can listen to it after. But I will continue rambling. So let me just cut myself off and say I will catch you after the break, where you get to hear what we talk about. I'm so excited. Have fun. See you guys soon. Hello, everybody. Today, we have a very super special, lovely guest, my best friend, who is super intuitive, who's also a production coordinator and an extremely talented special effects makeup artist, sculptor, creative, Sarah Joseph.
Hello, that's me. I'm Sarah.
All right, Sarah. So
How often do you remember your dreams?
I remember my dreams very frequently and then forget them about 30 minutes later. And I am horrible at writing my dreams down, but I know that if I did, I would remember them all.
Do you try to analyze or figure out the symbols in your dreams for the ones that
All
you do remember?
Yeah, all the time. I'm always analyzing. It's something that my mom really enjoys doing is analyzing dreams. So it's something that I end up doing, honestly, like subconsciously. And I'll be like, oh, I figured out what I'm afraid of.
Perfect. I actually had a question about that, so I'm glad you brought up your mom. It's how does dreams play a role in your cultural or like family upbringing?
Uh-huh. So I have a Jewish upbringing, but I wouldn't say that my Judaism affects any of my dreams. I think that upbringing comes more from the fact that my mom is a social worker and she's constantly analyzing and looking for a deeper meaning. And it used to always bug me the hell crazy when I was a kid because I'm like, stop analyzing everything I do. But now I subconsciously do it myself.
Do you think that all dreams have meaning? And also, do you think that they have guidance or messages from outer sources?
So here's where I know I differ from you is that I don't believe all dreams have meanings. I think so much is just subconscious. I do think some of them do, but I think that a lot of them are just the media that you've taken in or your day that your brain is just playing back. That being said, I do think that there are times where I'm like, I've totally seen this in a dream before, but I couldn't tell you where or when. Or like I have been able to explore, analyze a dream and be like, oh, here's the root of my issue.
I have to play that other side where you said you differ. So you said it's like subconscious or
Huh.
unconscious that you're just pulling these things from media. Does that not in itself mean something though?
So I guess so. I think what's very interesting and something that happens to me a lot to sort of dive into is I will fall asleep watching videos and I often will dream like that video will sort of happen in my dream or like the person who's speaking will happen in my dream or just like a specific sentence like will pull through and that'll happen. So I think that it is sometimes just like your brain's listening.
Hmm.
And it's not deeper than that. It is just exactly what's in front of your face.
So you don't think it's saying something about yourself pulling that specific moment or snapshot per se of like whatever it was, whether it was absurd or silly or just completely random?
Honestly, no. I think that there are times where maybe yes, but I think that a lot of the times no.
I can go on and on about that. So let's see. So you remember a lot of your dreams. They do
Mhm.
like whittle away as time goes on, but have you noticed reoccurring patterns or dream themes?
So I feel like I have a couple reoccurring dreams. One that used to happen a lot when I was young. I've had a couple throughout different periods of my life. The one I most strongly remember is so silly, is just like classic school dream where my hardest class, the biggest fear was forgetting to do my homework because that teacher was very much like, oh, don't turn in your homework, you get a zero huge, like this ruins your grade kind of thing. And as someone who has ADHD and is constantly forgetting things left and right, it was very traumatic for me. So I remember I used to have this dream of being right before class and being like, oh my gosh, I had homework too. And that was something that I would get a repetitive dream, similar to like that, oh, you're taking a test and you forgot to study, but like that was my version of it.
What do you think that meant? Do you think it was like metaphorical? Do you think it was actually you forgetting to do your homework or getting a bad grade or having that anxiety about school?
I think it was pretty literal for that one. I think my brain very much like took that situation of what I was anxious about and said, look, you're anxious in your sleep too. But to go on to a more metaphorical one, a repetitive dream I have a lot is I will be driving in a car and it'll be a stoplight and I'll be pressing on my brakes and my car won't stop.
Ooh,
Yeah, that one's a more fun one.
what do you think that one means?
I think that one, like, that's one of the ones I've spoken to my mom about. And I think that one comes from a lack of control and concern over a lack of control for what aspect of my life. I'm not sure. Maybe just in general.
I
But
just
that's
had something come for me for that too. Yeah, I was definitely seeing a lack of control for that, but also the urge to keep overworking yourself or keep going and
yeah.
not having to stop or having that stop available.
Yeah, I'm definitely an all or nothing kind of person. And either I'm at a full stop or I am going 90 miles per hour.
Mhm.
And I find that very hard to find that happy medium. So I
Mhm.
definitely think that it could be that as well.
Going on to that, do you see yourself having more symbolic dreams or literal dreams?
I get a lot of literal dreams of an exact situation or a very parallel situation. I recently had an incident of something happen that was very scary in my life, and I didn't have the dream of the exact situation, but I had one very similar where I had a dream of a fire happening in the middle of the night and that I had to evacuate and get out very quickly. And I realized what I was afraid of wasn't that specific situation. It was, again, that lack of control of having something happen in the middle of the night.
Yeah, like also putting out these things within your life
Mm.
too, and
Yeah.
just, yeah, having everything catch fire.
Yeah.
That is so interesting how the mind does that. Do you have anxiety-based dreams often?
Oh, yeah. Those are the main dreams I remember.
Oh no.
I feel like I remember the kookiest dreams and I remember the most like anxiety dreams because I wake up being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just thought of all those situations.
Okay, so since you have a lot of anxiety dreams, do you try to take from that to use that to improve your waking life? Or look at it and be like, oh, okay, this is the issue right now. How can I put out the fires in my life waking up?
Yes and no. I think that when I wake up, I see it as a sometimes an aha moment. What I do with that afterwards is very much situation based. Sometimes it is more comforting to be like, oh, I know what my anxiety is from because I do get a lot of anxiety where it's like, I'm anxious, but I can't tell you why I'm anxious. I just am.
Hmm.
And so that is helpful sometimes, but other times it is, I think it makes it worse just because I don't feel like I'm fully rested when I have those types of dreams. I don't know if that really answered the question, but it sort of went down a different path.
It actually struck a fabulous question in my brain. So thank you so much for that. I actually was reading about this the other day in an amazing, amazing book, but I will not mention the book right now because that I'm going to mention when I finish it. But they were saying that your last thought or trails of thoughts is what manifests in the dreams too.
I would believe that.
Do you find yourself going to sleep thinking about these things at night, or do you feel like the anxiety popping up as you fall asleep that induce these anxiety dreams?
Yeah, and I think that's why often I will fall asleep watching a video or like comfort videos because if I don't, my brain just doesn't shut up. It's constantly on. It's constantly like, oh, tomorrow we need to do this and this and this and this. And I should really do this. And I'll start doing this tomorrow and it'll be a great new start. And oh, I can't believe I did this today. That sucked.
We are
uh,
somewhere, and I'm so excited because it's like, oh, okay. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love this progress that we're doing. Okay. Let me get back. So have you had a lucid dream before? And if you have, would you care to share it or share what you remember?
So I have had semi-lucid dreams where I'm aware I am dreaming and I can sort of control myself, but I can't control outside situations. And I have had I can't truly remember what they are. I think those ones are also actually that's a lie. I do remember one where I was aware I was dreaming. I get these dreams a lot when I go back to my hometown, not to just keep bringing up school dreams. Whenever I go back home, um I get school shooting dreams.
Oh my God, because the
And it'll play like a video game in my head where I am in control of myself and I can control like where I'm going and what I'm doing. And sometimes I die and sometimes I don't, and it'll restart.
Oh my God, Sarah.
Isn't that traumatizing?
Yeah.
So like,
That itself, like you between you and me, wow, that I could see like as literal because I know the reason why. But also I could see that symbolic, even though you're semi-lucid in that state. And I also see it as like preparing you for that situation or for a situation like that, what you would do or where you would go.
Yeah, I that's how I always saw it, is like I saw it as like my brain practicing.
Yeah, and you going back to your hometown, hometown to like usually have that dream to occur. That's yeah, that says a lot. That had a big effect on you.
Which is like not to write off what happened because it wasn't at my school.
Yeah, but it was
It was
nearby.
so close by. And it happened it happened like when I was 13. So it was like such a informative, like not informative, formative time.
Yeah.
But I think that's just like something that's very silly. And sometimes I still get dreams to this day about
You
that.
know what I'm getting from that too? I feel like not even just a preparation dream, but this is like the symbolic or like metaphorical part. I think since you're such driven and like you want control over the situation and to be in charge and like delegate these tasks
You're
too.
so
Something
right.
about the coordinating thing is that your mind can't wrap itself around being in a situation where you're out of control, like in a school shooting. So it keeps making you lucid to the point that you're going around and you're like, okay, like I have control over this. I can get out of this. And if this was to happen, I do have full control. And I think you're battling yourself there because sometimes you die, which would mean that you didn't fulfill what you internally want. But then there's times that you do.
I 100% agree. And I think something that we can put in the podcast is that I have a lot of semi-lucid dreams about emergency situations, similar to like the one I already previously said, where I am constantly like doom prepping in a way that's not like, oh, zombie apocalypse, but like there is a fire, someone broke into the house, there's a shooting, there is this and that. Like all of those emergency situations, like I have semi-lucid dream through. Like in my dream, I'm finally going to sleep. I could not fall asleep. I literally went to bed and my mom screams at me and it's like, Sarah, wake up. And she's like, we need to get out now. We need to get out now. That was what that dream was. And I was like, oh, it wasn't a fear of the fact that someone broke in. It was the fear that it happened while I was asleep and that it was an emergency situation while I was asleep and I didn't have.
And this repetitive thing of not being in control or not being because when you're asleep, in a sense, like you're defenseless, you're like out in the open. You could be deep in sleep and someone could sneak up on you, right? That's still something that could happen. You are going through this that like your mind is trying to wrap itself around being vulnerable. I think it's a vulnerable
I agree. The other dream that I was going to talk about was, it was a very like movie dream where it was like a whole script where someone broke in. I was at my family house, someone broke in, I hid in my closet and someone opened the door of the closet. I was like, please, no, no, no. They were like, I'm only here because my husband's here. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, we'll leave you alone. And I was like, well, why are you here? And they were like, we were at a party next door and my husband saw that your family had a Tesla. And so we knew we wanted to rob this house. It was like so literal. It was like, we knew you would be a good target, so we did, but we're not trying to kill you.
I think that okay, wait, I need to know, does your family actually have a Tesla? Is that something that is real, or is that something that your brain is pulling like valuable?
No, that's a real situation and something that I've always felt detached from. In a way, I feel like people see me as this privileged rich girl, and I am very aware of all of my privileges. That being said, my dad's not buying me the Tesla, like very much. I work very hard. I pay everything on my own, but I am aware of those privileges and I'm aware that like he is able to have that Tesla and that changes my life. But it's something that I am constantly thinking about, is how that sort of privilege affects different. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say how you're seeing too, because you also
Yeah.
hid in the closet, you said, and
Uh-huh.
opened it. So right there, I get that insecurity about it, or
Mhm.
there's another word too that I'm searching for, but it's like closing yourself off literally in the dream
Yeah.
with like four walls surrounding you, pinned in there, and
Mm-hmm.
hidden in like the dark, but yet it's still open and still shined upon. They still find you and they still see you.
Yeah. And it's very much like oh, we don't actually want anything from you.
Mm-hmm.
Not from you personally.
Mm-hmm. But because of your family and because of like the assets.
I also think it's interesting about the emergency situation aspect of it, because when I was very, very young, there was a huge home invasion case that happened in my hometown. And so this was constantly a fear, was this could happen to me, that someone could break in. That was definitely interesting. But I think it shows like a lot of those situations where like I do have all those doom prepping things in my mind
Mm-hmm.
and looking for any sort of control over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I see a theme.
That's what I mean. I'm like, sometimes I feel like dreams are just so straightforward. It's like, here's the obvious theme.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I can also see that there are smaller themes within these dreams. I actually have something to add to it, because I have been jotting notes down from your dreams here, seeing these themes, hearing these themes, trying to like visualize it with you. So we know the literal sense, like you were saying, was the break-in, the fire, the homework at school.
Mm-hmm.
But also like going deeper into those dreams, the school one specifically, since you said you've had that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, your lucid dream took place at the school.
Yep.
Like I was saying, I feel like it's your mind prepping you for like this loss of control and being like, ah, like I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also like looking at school just specifically, school is a place that we go to learn and like get knowledge for life and move forward in life. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. I feel like it's you feeling worried or trying to prep yourself for a situation where you might not have the knowledge prepared. It could be in work, it could be like with your makeup, it could be with friends. I feel like that could also be the metaphor for that one. You can tell me if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And I was sort of chuckling while you said it because I immediately knew where you were going with it. And I was like, no, you're right. As a production coordinator and just working in event production in general, even before as a stage manager, my job is to be prepared for the unprepared
Mhm.
and to know how to problem solve. And I do think I'm a great problem solver. In a way, I'm pessimistic about situations because I'm ready for them. That's what I do. And I'm trying to be prepared.
On top of that, the closet one, your mind literally putting you closed off in
Mhm.
four walls, and then it was open again. It's shining a light on that. I feel like these are all connected to not even just an anxiety, but also location and just the stresses in your life.
Yeah,
Um,
almost all of my emergency stress situations happen at my childhood home.
in the fire, you said your mom ran in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are you really close to your mom? Because it being
Yeah.
your mom too, coming in to warn you, and you were sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you being in a vulnerable state, someone you trust coming in and saying there's a fire, which a fire could be destruction, but it
Mm-hmm.
could also be renewal in a sense, and you being panicked. I feel like it could also be pulling from the renewal point of your mind wanting to get through the situation and
Yeah.
have a new thought process, a new outlook on these situations. But I feel like it's just constantly overwhelmed by these could be situations.
Yeah.
Does that
No,
make
I
any
agree. It does make sense, and I agree with them. Another thing that I wanted to talk about for this is I get a lot of false awakenings.
beautiful? Tell me about them.
So these to me are terrifying. Uh, because again, I feel so helpless. It's in between a state of sleep paralysis and lucid dreaming where I know that I am asleep and I'm trying to wake up in them and something is not right and it feels like I am awake and I'm myself and I am doing whatever I need to continue to wake up. And then I'll realize that it's still a dream and I'm still in my bed and it will repeat over and over. And it's terrifying. And I will remember like trying to scream in them, trying to do things to wake myself up, knowing that I'm sleeping, forcing my eyes to be open, forcing a scream. And then just for my sister to be like, oh, you were kind of making sounds in your sleep. You were like, eh. And I was like, I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
Okay, I have so many follow-up questions for this. Let me
I knew
see.
you would. This is why I was like, this is what I
Okay.
was saving. It was
All
juice.
right. Yes. Okay, million questions. Let me see where to start. Where is there a specific, does this happen like anywhere? Like you could sleep at your place, at your family's place, at your sister's place, or is it like at a specific place or specific time?
No, they're all over the place. One of the ones I distinctly remember is like being asleep at my grandmother's couch, and they happen a lot when there's outside sounds. Or like a TV will be on, or I'll hear people talking where my brain is like listening to them talking and thinking it's awake, but I'm not. I find that's the main situation it happens in, but it can be anywhere.
Okay. Just from what you said right there too, this is just coming to me. I don't know where it's coming from. I think an outside source, who knows? Okay. Do you think that it could be your brain wanting to keep that awareness, like we've been talking about the anxiety, like wanting to not let your guard down while you hear things out there because of vulnerable state? Do you think it's because it wants to participate in that?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it, and part of me wants to say yes to make it be the easy answer.
Mhm.
But I also feel like I'm not taking in enough for that to even make sense for it to be the case. Where it's like I'm not processing that information. It's happening around me. Maybe I'm trying to process it, but it's very much all a blur.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, please tell me if you ever think like, no, don't make it easy on me. This
No,
is
I'm not. You know I don't.
I know.
When have I ever done that with you?
But
It happened. So the first time I remember this happening, to give you some things to bite on too. The first time I remember this happening was getting ready when I was very young. I'd be very bad at waking up for alarms, and I would dream that I was waking up and getting ready. And then all of a sudden, someone would be like, Sarah, why aren't you awake? And I'd be like, what do you mean? I just got up and got dressed. And then I'd be back in my bed. And then it would happen like 10 times.
I've had that so much too.
Really?
Yeah, to like so many times. I've had false awakenings a lot still, but I wouldn't say that it's like stressful. Like I'll wake up with
Yeah, they're different now to me. But like that was the very start, like very clear cookie cutter false awakening.
Yeah, no, I specifically remember one from when I was younger too. Oh my God, it was elementary school. I think it was kindergarten. I remember my mom in the bathroom getting ready, and she went like an alarm clock, like a rooster in the morning. She was like, Angelina, wake up. And I was like, I'm up. But I went back to sleep. I would just train myself to answer so that she wouldn't come in and like
Oh,
actually wake me up because I just wanted to sleep. So then I would answer and then go back to sleep and then dream that I was getting dressed and putting my clothes on and then have her say it again. She'd be like, Angelina, you need to wake up. I thought I told you to wake up. And I'd be like, yes, 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 I'm up, I'm up, I'm up. And I'd sit up again. And then I'd be like, I could still do 5 more minutes. And then I'd fall back asleep and then dream that I like got dressed again. And then I
uh-huh.
grabbed my bag again just to have her actually run in this time and shake me awake and then wake up in a panic and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, let me go get ready. And she's like,
Yeah,
it'd be late.
it was a very similar experience. And I think it's very interesting because I haven't talked to a lot of people that have had such a similar experience because I am a very deep sleeper. And I think I dream most when I fall back asleep. Like right after I wake up and fall back asleep, I end up dreaming most then. And so in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's probably what happened. But part of me was like, I don't even remember waking up to be like, yeah, no, I'm awake, but it's probably what happened.
I actually was joking. I had one the other day too before work because I went to sleep probably around 1 a.m. and I had to wake up at 5:15, and I was not going to wake up at 5:15.
Of course not.
My alarm clocks were going off. I shut them off. I went back to sleep, was getting ready for it, and the alarm clock went off again on David's phone. And I was like, holy fuck, now I have to get an Uber. I had literally dreamed that I got ready and I was just like, you know what? Tough shit. Today I guess is not the day. I just took it. That's what I'm gonna get at. Like when I have dreams like that, I take it as okay, today I'm gonna take it easy because clearly my mind is super panicked. My mind wants me to go like 10 steps more than I can do today. I'm gonna just like relax and kind of, I don't know, balance myself or like get myself all situated today. I'm gonna have an easier day. That's kind of how I take it whenever I have those now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I'm very hard on myself all the time, as I'm sure you know. And so that definitely probably affects them happening as well, because it is very much like I'm doing my best. Think I'm getting ready, and then all of a sudden I'm back at square zero. And it
Do you
sort of
think
just like
your
knocks
mind's
me back
saying
over.
that?
Huh?
Do you think it's your mind saying that to pause for a minute and like,
Restart. Probably,
why don't you listen to it?
because I'm hard on myself.
Sarah.
Because again, going back to all the other things, I am an all or nothing person. And I feel like if I stop, then I'm just gonna be
Fall behind and not have the knowledge for the next
exactly.
situation. Ugh, these dreams. Yet, Sarah, I think they all got meanings. I don't know what to tell you, babes, but
I mean, some of them are real kooky. Some of them are just like the
okay.
other day.
Do you want to share a kooky dream?
Yeah, last night I dreamed it was Halloween and I was carrying Olive around in a little bag. I don't know why. I was just carrying her around and there were some friends there and we were just chit-chatting, talking about Halloween things. I just like Halloween.
Anything else happen in that situation? Or that
Um,
dream? I don't know
Nothing
my situation, but
like there wasn't really much happening. I feel like I walked down the street and then I was like, I saw some people trick-or-treating and I was like, oh, I gotta go back to my place. Maybe they're gonna come to here. And then I was like, oh, they're probably not gonna come here. I live in an apartment building.
were you happy in the dream? Like, what were the feelings that you're feeling in it?
I was just existing. I don't remember that much, to be honest. I just remember it was like very strange people there from different aspects of my life. It was like someone I went to college with that I don't talk to anymore, someone I was like childhood friend with, someone who I'm friends with now. It was just like very strange. I was just an Olive.
So, okay, let's take your little kooky dream and see if I can make it make a little sense because
Sure.
that little part you just said. So you have Olive in a basket, like a little Halloween
A little
basket,
bag.
a little bag. All right. Well,
Like, oh,
first,
this girl's heavy.
Olive is your comfort, like your comfort animal, your security,
Mhm.
right? Like she is.
She's yelling right now in the background.
By the way, for the listeners, Olive is Sarah's lovely little cat.
So lovely.
But yes, you have Olive in the basket.
Hmm.
You have all of these other people with you. You said some that you don't talk to anymore, some that you do. Okay. These can also be versions of you or you at different timestamps in your life. This could be like whatever you perceive them as, it could be these qualities that you either have liked since it was, you said a kooky, fun dream, like you were just existing. It wasn't a bad dream.
Yeah.
Could be these qualities that you like of them. They're chit-chatting with them from these different moments of your life. But yet you also have that comfort and security with you in a little bag.
In a little bag.
Which your bag, at least for me, has all my essentials in life. It has
Olive's my only essential.
which is love, right?
Hmm.
Olive symbolizes love. So, and if these are different aspects of you too, and you love Halloween,
I do love Halloween. And it was fall.
and you love fall, right?
I love fall.
Okay, so I don't see it as just like a kooky random dream. It very much feels like these different aspects of you that need love, that are loved, that you do appreciate being in this comfort within yourself. I don't know. Do you see any connections from that?
I guess. I guess I could see it as my want and my need for love and trying to think about the people who were there. Because I know who was there. I'm just, not gonna
Name them for
Yeah. So they're all people that I like love and care about, but also like aren't really in my life anymore.
Well, I would think also it being Halloween, Halloween is you dress up as monsters and scary things, and you're supposed to like scare off the bad ghosts or spirits from your life, right? That's what they would do. They would kind of like put on the mask to scare the actual spirits, right? Right? Am I just pulling this out of my head? It's like also like the other.
Maybe.
I am not. But yeah, that's the point of Halloween, right? Have you ever watched Halloween Town?
My favorite movie.
You dress scary to scare off the demons in your life, right? And if some of these people had those bad aspects or scary monsters and you're with them on Halloween is also like a send off, also maybe like spiritually sending them off from your life and parting ways with some of them. I kind of see it because Halloween is for one night, sadly. I mean, you could celebrate it every night if you want.
I
But
do.
yeah, me too. But I don't know. I kind of get that. Like it's that one night kind of thing. And then it's chit chat and then it's bye-bye. But you also have this love, like Olive symbolizing this love, one that will stay with you who is in your bag
Hmm.
for the ride.
I just remembered more things that happened in that dream.
Beautiful.
Whenever I start talking about my dreams, I remember them, which is why I need to write them down because I would have full movies for you. So, also in this dream, I do a lot of like a lot of jumping because everyone does. It's just like one thing, another thing, one thing, another thing. In this dream, I'm with one of my old best friends and we're doing so weird. I can picture it, but it's so hard to put words to it. There's a swimming pool and we are
Are you
doing like a little relay race kind of thing. Why? I don't know. And then I'm also at my house and I have these things to hand out to people because it's Halloween. And then I'm like, oh no, there's not enough to give out to people. I was like, shoot, we ordered the wrong amount. I was like, oh, we only got 6. And then there was someone, an ex-friend, that went and like got groceries for us. And I was like, oh, why did he do that? And I remember there being little frozen ice and trying the little frozen ice and silly little things like that. There's just a lot of goofy little random people.
I am so sorry. I was thinking about that dream. It's just so you said the relay race with an ex-friend. You don't
It's like
like
childhood best friend.
what? Okay, who were they to you? Like what qualities? I guess I'm trying to get at. Like, did they have what? Like some of the memories of them.
They are, to me, they represent in my life like childhood wonder
Okay.
and creativity and like imagination. And like that's very much not who they are now. And I still talk to them and I know that's not who they are now. So I think it's interesting to be like doing such a silly little goofy childhood thing with them in this dream.
But you're also competing with them in like a relay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That just there's so many points that my brain is trying to connect with that because if you're competing with them and they symbolize this like childhood wonder and like imagination and stuff, it could also not so much be about them, but about you again, like competing with yourself to keep with this like imagination, this childlike aspect of yourself.
I'm a big fancy city girl, adult.
Especially with Halloween, which some people think it's a kid's holiday. Do I? No. But I will still dress up. But is it a kid's holiday? A lot of people do think that. And I also
And they're wrong.
childhood aspect there, yeah. And Olive being love, it could be love for your child aspects within you too. Especially since these people were from different timestamps, a lot of them not being friends anymore or being past friends, ex-friends, some being still friends, but like drifting. It could also just be that kid aspects.
It could be.
Does that make any sense more?
It does.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Trying to keep those qualities even though those people aren't in your life anymore. Like they're versions of you. They're like memories of those times, of those reminiscing on those feelings and memories.
Yeah, I can't argue with you on that one. To sidetrack, I have another thing that I wanted to talk about after listening to your podcast with David about feelings in dreams
I
and how
have
we
that right here, you silly little intuitive monster. Ah,
about how you have all of your senses. I always have my senses in my dream.
All of
And
them?
usually,
Oh, lovely. I would love to hear some that you remember or any of them that you're like, wow, that, please share.
in that last dream that we were talking about, I was tasting different flavors of things. And I was like, that one's the best one. But I was like, hee hee, put them back. Don't let anybody know that you tried all of them. And another thing is if I'm feeling similar to like if I'm hearing something in real life, I hear it in my dream. If I'm feeling pain in real life, I'll feel it in my dream.
Only if you're feeling pain in real life?
Probably in my dream too. Like I can feel pain in my dream. And I
Oh,
have
like
before, like in those other scenarios, like when I die, I usually feel that I die. But specifically in my head is a dream where I was lying on my leg, very weird. And I have a lot of just physical body issues where I have a lot of chronic pain.
okay.
So because I have a lot of chronic pain, some things will really hurt more than others, obviously. In this scenario, I was having chronic pain in my leg, and I dreamt that you're gonna love this. I dreamt that there was a zombie apocalypse and a zombie bit my leg, and they needed to chop my leg off in order for me to survive. And I felt them chopping my leg off. And I woke up because it hurt so bad. And I was like, oh, I'm just lying on my leg weird.
Did you like pass out in the dream? Were you conscious through the whole thing?
I
Like,
was awake and I felt it. And I like could tell you I felt that pain of someone cutting my leg off.
okay. Wow.
I
Okay.
knew
Yeah.
you would like this one. I was like thinking about things we would talk about, and I was like, I have to say this one. She'll love it.
So, okay. I've had dreams like of car crashes and I felt everything. I felt glass,
Yes,
I felt the
same.
pain, I felt the air
Definitely.
sucking out of me. Perfectly fine when I wake up. But the fact that it is your leg and you have chronic pain there too. Oh my gosh. I could also just see it like meaning like your mind and your body wanting to separate this pain, get rid of this pain
Yep.
from you literally because it's amputated in the dream, like wanting to boom, gone. Like I don't care.
Gone.
Over, gonna be painful, just get rid of it, gone.
Yep.
Like trying to heal yourself actually in the quickest, fastest possible way.
Yeah.
The most brutal way.
Brutal.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I also do have like car crash dreams where I feel it, like, and I have that same experience where I like feel like the air is out of me, or like I'll fall and you're like like any of those kind of scenarios.
Have you ever had any where you like don't see anything visually? As if you had your eyes closed and it was just
I can't remember. I want to say yes because I do, since I do have those weird half lucid things. I feel like that's something I would do. I
like
can't
kind of
tell
in
you
between
specifically.
that, like
Yes. Yeah.
okay. What about the taste? Like you were saying?
Yeah, like I was just like tasting, I was just having little treats in my dream. Or like when I'm hungry, if I go to bed hungry, I'll have little snacks in my dream. The same way that like if you have to pee, sometimes you pee in your dream, but you don't actually pee in real life. But you're like, did I just pee in real life? And you're not sure.
The food. Okay, so like yeah, I said a little snippet. I said a little snippet with David about the cheese, but no, when I like mentioned the cheese, I've had this so many times, even last night I dreamed about food, but I'll get into that. Was this specific platter. They had this white cheese cut, which I don't usually like. I don't like orange cheese that much. I like white cheese though. But it was specifically square white cheese and these fucking amazing rosemary crackers.
Yum.
And oh, it was so good. When I tried it, the cheese, oh my God. I found out, I woke up, I was like, David, we have to get cheese and crackers today. He was like, why? I was like, I had a dream. I have to get them. And he was on board for it. He was like, okay, you know what? You had it in your dream. I was like, no, I could taste it. I know what it tasted like and I know what to expect. It was New York sharp white cheddar. I did not know the taste of it until that dream. And when I had it, I was like, this is the cheese. This is the cheese I had. And last night I had a dream. It was actually Natalie. I texted her about this dream, but I'm just gonna say this one part. She had this curly, wavy mac and cheese. It wasn't like regular macaroni noodles, which I
I
have
know
not
the
seen
noodle
in
you're
this.
talking about.
You do? Because I don't know what the fuck this was. It was like this wavy, like curly. And
No,
it was,
I know exactly what noodle you're talking
please
about.
tell me the name of it so I could find it, but afterwards. It was in this like brown peppered cheese sauce, maybe like truffle in it, right? But she
Mhm.
had it, and it was like this special boxed mac and cheese that she could only get in Europe. And I remember David and I had already lived out in Europe in the stream. And yeah, she had this and she was like, yeah, I've been hoarding this. This is like so fucking good. You can only get this out here. And I was like, I want to try it. And I tried it. It was the best mac and cheese I've had in my entire life. And it was in a dream. And I remember exactly what it looked like, how creamy it was. I have not had mac and cheese like that. And trust me, I've had baked mac and cheese and it's been really good. But that one was so good. And the noodles were so different. I want to make it. I want to find it. And she said in the dream, you can only get it out there. I was actually going to search that. I still have yet to search it. But
I think I sent you the noodle.
if I find that mac and cheese, actually, I will scream because it tasted so good. And I have not had that in real life. The texture of the noodle too.
Yeah. No, I'm always dreaming about food.
It's always an element in my dream somewhere. And I could taste it, which is so nice. Or like the
Yes.
drinks and stuff too.
It
Or
always tastes better in your dream.
or like touching like a table and I could feel like the cold or like the hot.
Yeah.
Or like if I was to touch David's face in my dream, it'd still be hot, like in real life, like warm.
Mm.
Or like if I touch my hair, someone's hair, it's like I could feel that. I could feel the cup, I could feel the plastic, I could feel the water, like how you were
Yeah.
saying.
I can like feel in my dream if I hug someone. Like
Yeah.
I can still get that like endorphin, like feel good, like snuggly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so crazy. Wow, I am so happy that you have had those experiences too and brought that up because that is so fun. Have you had any premonition dreams or dreams that have happened like before happening, kind of like deja vu or snippets that you're like, huh, I remember dreaming about this.
Yes, but I couldn't tell you specifics about it. I remember all the time, like I've seen this before. I get a lot of deja vu. And I know that since I have very visual dreams, I just sort of assume that that's what it is. But I can't be like, oh, I saw that in a dream and I know the exact dream.
Mhm.
Like you. I know you have like very situations that happen and then they happen.
I texted you about that the other day, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it with the listeners because Aurelia, if you're listening to this, yes, she will know exactly what I'm talking about. Sarah knows because I texted her. I have it dated in my phone, December 7th. I took a nap. Yes, I did. And what happened in that nap? I dreamed of an event that just happened recently. It was this art gallery called Smush out in Jersey City. Lovely place. They had this like party and there was Polaroids. It was everybody was wearing pink and black. And I remember writing devils and I wrote Aurelia was there and a couple other people from there that I know. We were all there and we got the photos back and I was like, oh, haha, this one's so silly. This one I look funny, but it was such a fun night and all the other photos are great. I remembered Aurelia's daughter being there, just everything to the point. I explained this whole entire dream to Aurelia the next day. And then fast forward to the other weekend, it was the exact dream. And I was about to leave with David, and one of the people there was like, no, 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 stay for the photo. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll stay for the photo. Cancel the Uber, David. And it clicked literally and figuratively. The camera clicked and I turned to Aurelia and I was like, this is the dream. This is the dream. And she was like, oh shit. Oh my God, I remember. And I pulled up the notes. It was the dream. And if I did not write it down, and I also told her I dreamed that. And I feel like everybody does that.
Listen, y'all, I am the first to call Angelina out on her bullshit and be like, you're delusional, you're making this up. But there's been multiple times where she has had moments and have been like, hey, I have this dream, remember it when it happens later. And then it will. And I am so skeptical, but there's like times where you can't be skeptical. Like she's proving it in front of your eyes. And I wish that I could continue calling her out, and because nothing do I like saying more than I told you so, but she's usually right in these situations.
This I had. This
You
I
had
know,
this.
and I have it written down.
You do.
I feel like everybody does it. That's what I'm getting at. I feel like that's deja vu, which is absolutely crazy because I told Aurelia and I texted Sarah about this. I told Aurelia December 7th. This happened in February 24th. So I don't know why. It was so random. It wasn't like something big and crazy like COVID, but it was a random day having fun. And I feel like everybody can do it. I feel like that's what deja vu is. I feel it's people forgetting that they dreamed about it actually and literally, but I do think it can be symbolic sometimes. That one though was to the T.
Well, like, I guess what is the purpose of it if it's not important, if it's just such an irrelevant event in your life?
I mean, I think it's just saying like, hey, you can do this. And also, we dream so many dreams a night. And throughout the night, the like deeper REM sleep of dreamless sleep lessens and you dream more through the night. It could also be like one of the first dreams, maybe as you're drifting off. And then that's ones that you just like forget and it goes away. Why is it just those random days? I don't know. You just maybe there's some important ones too, and it just you don't remember. Maybe your brain's saying, "Hey, this is far too big of a topic for you to think of now. Don't get ahead of yourself, a hold of yourself." Whoa. But
So I want to push back on you just out of curiosity. Something you said is that there are just so many dreams that we dream so much all the time. And our subconscious is constantly putting different scenarios for our brain to be in. If there's enough odds of specific situations, won't one of those situations happen in real life just out of statistics?
I mean, yeah, that what you're getting at, yeah, you could have a dream that has been morphed by your brain, you're saying to like prep you for it. But the
I
thing is,
mean, it's the same as like the whole parallel universe theory of being like there's only so many ways of so many things that can happen. Of course, there would be repeat situations in the universe. And you're
mhm,
having so many dreams all the time. Of course, one is going to be real.
mhm. But also to that, I'd say, and so what then? If it actually happened and you remember it happening, is that not still something that you'd be like, huh?
No, it
As
is.
for if a skeptical person was to experience that and be like, what the heck was that? That you can make up all these things, like, oh, scientifically, like it could just be all these things, or it could be from a greater source. It could just have been just, wow, that's a weird coincidence. I mean, yeah, whatever truth you want to tie to it, that is your truth. I'm not going to fight you on that. But I will say that I believe it was like the deja vu.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know.
And that's the thing. It's like none of us truly do know.
And I think
And
that is what we are here for, right? That is
exactly,
the dawn of the human experience. No one can see my hand movements right now, but they are very grand. Is that
they are.
yeah, that isn't that our purpose to think and wonder why? And if you're not wondering why, then why are you not? But
If you're not wondering why, then why?
then yeah, why? Like what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you here? Why do we breathe and think? I don't know. But you're gonna try to tie something to it so your brain makes sense of it. Just like Sarah's brain's trying to tie these anxiety-filled dreams to prep her to go about life, but who knows? The sleep paralysis. So you were saying about the false awakenings, right? And like a form of sleep paralysis, but have you had actual sleep paralysis that you'd consider it? And also, has it been one like where you're drifting off to sleep and then you're like, oh, I can't move?
Yeah. I've had a lot of different dream scenarios, one of which being sleep paralysis. That doesn't happen to me anymore. It happened to me when I was very young.
Hmm.
Uh, and my mom even vouches that like when I was young, I used to have sleep paralysis and sleep terrors, and all those fun things. I used to sleepwalk.
Hmm.
I don't anymore. But to go back to the sleep paralysis, I definitely remember feeling like I was awake and I just could not move. And that was the biggest thing. And I was like, I know I'm awake. I can't move, but I also know that I'm sort of asleep. And I know that I need to do something to wake myself up. And that was sort of the mindset I had. And it wasn't more complex than that because I was a child. It was just like I knew I was stuck and I didn't know how to get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bouncing into that a little bit more, even though you said it's not that complex, I do want to know, were your eyes open? Could you move your eyes? Like you had this awareness of, okay, like I just need to move and I'll get out of it. But were there any visuals? Was there any sounds? Do you remember any of that?
Yes. I remember sometimes my eyes would be open, sometimes they'd be closed, and I was trying to open them. But when they were open, of course, I do get the very like stereotypical shadow figures, but it was almost different for me because once I woke up, I was able to be like, oh, I can see what formed that visual for me to jump to that conclusion, where it was like usually a real thing. It was like a chair that my brain had morphed into something. And I was like, just this visual. Like I wasn't fully seeing and processing what it was, but I was able to visualize that something was there. And so it was like demon shadow figure. But I'd wake up and it would be like a pile of clothes on the floor in that same spot.
I want to mention this because I don't think I mentioned it in the last one. I think I mentioned it off of my podcast to someone, but there
Keep that in.
yeah, no. But yeah, I don't think I mentioned it on here. That's like bugging me because if I did, then I'm gonna cut this. But
Yeah.
that sleep paralysis, which I do believe in aliens, I do believe in extraterrestrials. I just think the world's too far grand for it just to be us.
Yeah, I agree.
But they do think that some of the alien abductions, some of them could be sleep paralysis and them like seeing these visuals from it, unable to move, and then awakening back in a dream or in their body. Like, some people do think it's sleep paralysis. I believe whoever I want to believe. And that's that. But I do think that that does make sense when I heard that for some of them. And I was like, huh, yeah, I can see that because sleep paralysis is very real. And sometimes you're like, what the fuck is this? And I've never personally seen any shadow figures or demons. I've just, like I said in the last one, felt stuff and heard stuff. I think that is trippy that some of you people see things. That is
Yeah.
me.
But I feel like it was never like a full like apparition that was like coming towards me. It was never anything like that. It was just like, oh, is someone peering around the corner? No, it's just the railing I see.
Okay. Okay. And you said sleepwalk, right? And terrors.
Yeah.
This I have not talked about. Sleepwalking is so interesting to me. I have never sleepwalked ever, but I want to hear your experience.
So, I used to sleepwalk a lot as a child, and I also knew I did, but it's to the point where sometimes I would fake it, and I'd be like, "Oh no, I sleptwalked into my mom's room. I need to go sleep in her bed," but like I was awake, and they knew, and like I was just like a silly little girl. But when I was actually sleepwalking, it was again that half consciousness. One of the most vivid ones I remember, because I don't remember most of them, but I remember one of them because I was woken up during it. And that one was, I distinctly remember waking up, looking at my clock and being like, oh, it's 3 a.m. My parents are probably still downstairs watching TV. I need to go ask them something. What? I don't know what I need to ask them. But I just was like, I need to go ask them something. And I got out of my little bed and I started walking downstairs. And at this time, we had motion sensor alarms.
Oh my God.
And they went off. And I screamed. And my mom, of course, heard her youngest child scream and a motion sensor alarm go off. And so she comes running out, and I'm just standing there.
Okay, wait. So okay, you were standing there. You got woken up from that, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I've heard. Okay, correct me because I have not had this. I do, however, I had a friend growing up, in elementary school and I stayed there and her cousin sleptwalked and he sleptwalked into the room that we were in. And she was like, just stay quiet. Like, we can't wake him up like while he's sleepwalking because it's dangerous. And he like walked all the way up to us, like stood there for a sec and then walked away. Was able to open the door and like do all of that. Are you not supposed to wake up a sleepwalker? Like, how is that? Is it
It's like a thing where you're supposed to not wake up someone sleepwalking, and I think it's just because their brain's in such a vulnerable position that they'll just panic.
Mhm.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, when I woke up, I panicked, but it was also because there was an alarm going off.
I would think you would need to wake them up right before they end up harming themselves because I've also heard like swimming pools and diving boards and sleepwalking and jumping into a pool. Yeah, that is so crazy. So
Super
in the
crazy.
dream you dreamt you had to go tell them something. So
Yeah.
you
And like I was a child, so I would go to bed at what, like 7 o'clock, and I knew that they were still downstairs, like watching their TV shows. And so I was like, oh, I'm asleep, but I need to go ask them something. And that's where they'd be.
did
Not,
you
oh, it's 3 a.m. They're in their room sleeping.
was there any like conscious part of you like knowing you're actually physically walking? Or was there a conscious part afterwards? So you said you really remember that. And
I
everything
like remember, I specifically remember like doing all this. Like
do you
I felt like I was conscious when this was happening,
and for the
but I
other ones,
wasn't.
like for the other ones that you've had sleepwalking too, did you
I
feel
don't remember them. It's the only one I remember because it's the only one I woke up during.
okay? And the night terrors?
The night terrors, I don't specifically. Actually, I remember one that I had, and that was after watching a movie. Twitches too, terrifying. I
Love
was
it.
a very young child.
Love
The
it.
darkness scared the shit out of me.
I love the twitches.
The idea of this dark engulfing everything around you, absorbing all of eternity, terrifying for a children's movie.
But Tina and Mallory had their shit together.
Oh, they did. They were iconic. Same thing with like the Death Eaters from Harry Potter. Like that, terrifying. So I had those like nightmares, but I don't specifically remember them. But I do remember my mom being like, you would wake up screaming. Or I remember the parts I do remember was like I would be asleep. And at this point, I knew that I got very bad nightmares, which is all I thought they were, not night terrors. I knew I had very bad nightmares. And I knew there'd be a point where I'd be like, I'm asleep. This is a nightmare. And I would be like, all I need to do is open my eyes. And so I would be like, for the people who can't see, my eyes are closed, but I'm like trying so hard to open them. But it was like one of those things where it's like, you just can't do it. But I knew, and the dream's still happening around me. And I was like, I need to wake up.
Isn't that crazy that you screamed for the smoke, twitches, darkness, but you didn't scream for the sleep paralysis or like awakening dreams, false awakening dreams?
Yeah.
I can relate on the night terrors. So as I have said so many times over, I have been able to remember all my dreams. And when I nap, look at Olive. And when I nap, but there are two exceptions. Two exceptions.
Ew.
It is literally a handful, and I remember them all, that I can't remember my dream. And it has been when I
It's weird that you remember that you can't remember.
because it is insane to me and it is still mind-boggling to me because I have woken up mid-scream, like screaming on the top of my lungs. And one of the times my mom ran into the room and I woke up right as she opened the door too, and my throat was like burning from how loud I was screaming. Like I was screaming, like if someone it was insane. And she walked in and she ran, she opened the door. I remember like the gust of air too. She went, "Are you okay?" And I like sat up like really quick and I was like, yeah. Like I was so discombobulated, like all over the place. Like, whoa. She said, "You were screaming on the top of your lungs. Like, what happened? What were you dreaming?" And I sat there and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know for the first time. I do not know. And that happened again, not back to back. It was like way spread out, I think, by a couple years. again, the ones where I have woken up screaming like that, cannot remember. I can remember the other dreams like before it as I woke up, but those dreams that I woke up screaming from, gone. My memory erased it, and I kind of take it that my mind's like, nope, that's too scary. Push it out. We don't even want to remember it. But I don't know if that's even doing like the benefit from it. Maybe I should still have those dreams. I don't know. But my mind has kind of chose to push those away.
I mean, the same way that you can dissociate in real life when things like that happen.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, like I've had nightmares, I guess, and like dreams that are absurd and weird, and I'm like, wow, that is odd. But yeah, the night terrors, those ones gone, erased.
Yeah, I don't really remember them too much either, besides my mom telling me I had them. Like, would I be able to differentiate a nightmare from a night terror? No, but I feel like I could. But I don't know how to say it, but like it's like I don't think I remembered a lot of the night terrors either, but I would remember being like truly having a panic attack in my sleep.
I remember this dream. This is so silly. So yeah, nightmares. I've kind of made my peace with them. Like I'll still have the weird ones and like I said, and I guess some aspects could be scary. But there was this huge. I remember this, and I woke up at 3 a.m. too. There was this like giant figure monster being thing sitting on a throne of fire in front of me. It was probably like the size of a skyscraper, to be honest. Like Sarah,
Like dreamt Satan.
I guess pretty much, but it didn't look like a Satan that I've seen anywhere. This was like it was like a beast, yeah, like mixed with a human, but it wasn't like a goat or anything I could differentiate like that. But yeah, it was this giant ass being, right? And I'm like standing my size, staring at him, and there was like this path to like this giant throne. And in my dream, I said, I'm not scared of you. Leave me alone. And it talked in like a deep voice and was like, something, like, what do you mean? Like, no. And I was like, I'm not scared of you. Like, just literally leave me alone and let me go back to sleep. Like, why are you bothering me right now? And then
Go away.
I fully said that. And I laugh about that because I was like, I am not scared of you. Like, what? Don't you have something better to do?
You're not scared of me. I'm really scary.
Yeah, no, he did not sound like that. He had a deep voice, but I was like, no, I don't care. I was like, you can't hurt me. And I woke up and it was 3 a.m. and I'm not even joking. I out loud said, I am not scared. Leave me alone. And then I like tossed and turned around and went back to sleep. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know why I don't remember the night terrors. That's what I'm getting at. But brilliant. Sarah, do you have anything else that you'd like to share for today to end off with?
No, I don't know how to end that. No, I don't. I think that I had a few big things that I wanted to talk to you and I had been holding in to share with you, such as the leg cutting off one. I knew there were some things that I've been keeping from Angelina, knowing that they would make great stories for this.
So good.
So I'm glad I could share them with you and the people around. I'm glad I could share it with you and the listeners.
You are so brilliant, a gem, amazing. Everybody, give a round of applause for Sarah. I don't hear you guys, but I'm assuming that you are.
No, they're definitely clapping. Wherever they are, if they're like sitting there driving, if they're listening to it before they go to sleep, they're clapping. I know it.
Thank you guys so much for listening today. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found Sarah's experiences interesting because I sure in the heck did. This was Angelina and Sarah Joseph on Journey Through the Dreamscape. Join me, us, you after for the oracle card reading and the question. Yeah. Okay.
Hello again. Here we are at the final part of this week's episode, the oracle card reading and the question of the week. So, yeah, what are you guys thinking? How are you thinking about a lot of stuff? Did you get through the whole episode? I hope so. I hope you were thinking. And now I'm going to let you think some more while I pull this oracle card for the week. The card for this week is snow. The card says rest and contemplation. So the book says snow plays a variety of roles in the winter season. In a garden, snow adds nutrients, elements, and moisture to the soil. It also acts as an insulator, keeping the ground and plants protected from major temperature fluctuations. The peace of a snowfall invites you to release the stress you've been carrying. But snow isn't always peaceful. Snowstorms force you to sit still, shutting down activity and travel. Without your typical choices, storms force you to confront what you might have been avoiding. The snow card asks you to reflect on the past. Time gives you a clearer head with which to review these events. Snow can help you work through your emotions and see the past in a more balanced fashion. Trust what may seem like a slowdown, because it could be exactly what you need to stay safe. Isn't it so interesting that this is the card that I pulled for this week? Contemplation. Yeah, I really want you guys thinking. I always want you guys thinking. But my question specifically for all of you is, have you had any weird dreams lately? And if so, and you're avoiding it, why aren't you looking into it? Why aren't you interpreting it? Why aren't you, don't start with me. Why aren't you trying to figure it out? Okay, yeah, that wraps up this week's episode. I'm so excited, and I thank everybody who has come on here and has joined me, us, all of it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you, and I am excited. I am so excited for the future. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was Angelina Young on Journey Through the Dreamscape. Join me next week for episode 6. If you found this episode or my previous ones insightful, chances are someone else you know will think so too. It'd be incredibly helpful and lovely if you shared this with them so that they can find something that possibly resonates with them too. To hear more, please subscribe to my channel. To stay updated in between episodes or to contact me for episode ideas and feedback, please go to my website, angelinayoung.com, or follow my Instagram, which will be down below. I'm always excited and open to hearing how and what you've dreamed of. So please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you, my beautiful dreamers. This was Angelina Young on Journey Through the Dreamscape. Tune in next week for episode 6. Until then, see ya.